So, good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you people are enjoying your winter vacations. But as you know, that study is also an important part of our life. So, yesterday we have discussed about new empires and kingdoms, and yesterday we have discussed till Vikram Samvat, and we have discussed about the Samudragupta and the Gupta period. And today we are going to study about Harshvardhan and the Harshcharitra. Okay, so Harshvardhan, he ruled nearly 1400 years ago. How many years ago he ruled? He ruled nearly 1400 years ago, and his biography was written by his court poet. So, what is the meaning of biography? Biography means a life history of a person that is written by someone else. So, the life history of Harshvardhan was written by Banabhatta. Who was Banabhatta? He was a poet in the court of Harshvardhan. And the name of the biography of Harshvardhan was Harshcharitra. Okay? It is the genealogy of the Harshvardhan in which you get the detailed information about the Harshvardhan. Okay? And he was not the eldest son of his father. He became king after the death of his elder brother and father. And he became the king of the state Thanesar. Okay, and his brother-in-law ruled over Kannauj, who was killed by the ruler of Bengal. His brother-in-law was also the ruler of Kannauj, and he was killed by the ruler of Bengal. Harsha took over the kingdom of Kannauj and led an army against the ruler of Bengal. So, after becoming the ruler, he took over the kingdom of Kannauj also, and then he led an army against the rulers of Bengal. He was successful in the east and conquered both Magad and Bengal. So he successfully conquered both Magad and Bengal. Then he tried to cross Narmada and he marched into the Deccan. So after conquering Magad and Bengal, he marched to Deccan, but he was stopped by the ruler of the Chalukya dynasty. Okay, that was Pulakeshin II. He was stopped by Pulakeshin II, who was the ruler of the Chalukya. So, after discussing about Harshvardhan, his kingdom, and about his biography Harshacharitra, now we are proceeding to our next topic, that is the Pallavas, Chalukyas, Pulakeshin Prashastis. Okay, so during this period, now the Pallavas and Chalukyas were the most important ruling dynasties in the South India. So these were the ruling dynasties of the South India. And the kingdom of Pallavas spread from the region around their capital Kanchipuram to the Kaveri Delta. So they also have a very huge kingdom around their capital Kanchipuram. Okay, to the Kaveri Delta. While that of the Chalukyas was centered around the Raichur Doab that was between the river Krishna and the Tungabhadra. So these were the regions that were captured by both Pallavas and Chalukyas respectively. Okay, and Aihole was the capital of Chalukyas. Kanchipuram was the capital of Pallavas, and Ahole was the capital of Chalukyas. And Aihole was an important trading center. And it also developed as a religious center. Why? Because a number of temples were built. The Pulakeshin II was the best known Chalukya ruler. So, who was the best known Chalukya ruler of that time? That was Pulakeshin II. His Prashasti was composed by his court poet Ravikruti. Now, the Prashasti on Pulakeshin II was written by his own court poet, and the name of that court poet is Ravikruti. And in Prasasti, you can get the information about his ancestors who are traced back through 4 generations from father to son. Okay, and if we are going according to Ravikriti, so we can come to know that he led expeditions along both the west and the east coast. And beside, he checked the advances of Harsha. Okay, and there is an interesting play in the poem. Harsh means happiness. What is the meaning of Harsh? There is a play in which it is written that Harsh means happiness. Okay, but the poet says that after his defeat, Harsha was no longer Harsha. Okay, so when Harshvardhan will defeated by the Pulakshin too, then his poet was saying that Harsha will no longer Harsha, means after got defeated, Harsh will become unhappy. Okay, so this was all about Pallavas, Chalukyas, and Pulkeshi to Prashasti. Okay, so we are proceeding to our next topic, that is how were these kingdoms administered? Okay, how these kingdoms were administered. So land revenue, as we all know that revenue on the land was very important source of income for the king. Okay, so land revenue remained very important and village remained the basic unit of administration. Okay, but new development were also introduced at that time. Okay, kings adopted a number of steps to win the support of men. He had taken number of steps to get the support of the men who were very powerful, like who were powerful economically as well as socially. Or he also want to gain the support of those men who were politically and military strong. Okay, because of their political and military strength, he want to gain the support of number of people. Okay, for example, like some important administrative posts were hereditary. Some posts were hereditary. And sometimes one person held many offices. You can take the example here of Mahadandanaika. You can take the example of Mahadandanaika or the chief judicial officer. Okay, like Harisena. Harisena was a Mahadandanaika. Okay, and the meaning of Mahadandanaika is chief judicial officer, and he was like his father. Like his father was also a chief judicial officer, so Harisena was also a chief judicial officer, and he was the poet also. Okay, so like you can say that this post was hereditary. This post was hereditary, and sometime one person held many offices. Like it was not compulsory that one person can rule over one position only, or one person can have one position only. One person can have many of the positions. Okay, for example, like beside Mahadandanaika, Harisena was also a Kumar Amadya, and the meaning is important minister. So he was judicial officer as well as the important minister, and a Sandhi Vigarika, that means a minister of war and peace. So he hold 3 positions at the same time. And next, beside important men, probably had a say in local administration. Okay, and these included the Nagar Shreshti. Local men has also a important say. Okay, like all those important men has a say, has a power to express their opinion in local administration. And you can have the example of Nagar Shreshti. Nagar Shreshti means the chief banker, merchant of the city. And the next you can take the example of Sartwaha. Sartwaha means the leader of merchant caravans. Okay, so this is how these kingdoms were administered. Okay, like some posts were hereditary, and sometimes one person can hold many offices. And important men also have a very important role in the local administration. So students, today we have discussed about Harshvardhan and Harsharitra. Then we have discussed about Pallavas, Chalukyas and Pulkeshin's Prashasti. And then we have discussed about that how these kingdoms were administered. Okay, so this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the class, and rest we will continue tomorrow. Your homework is that you will read the remaining chapter. Okay, thank you and have a nice day to all.